getting to the best part.
Oh, it's still listening.
Why don't we just make the podcast over listening to Castlevania music?
Oh, then I think we would get sued. Okay, and we're on.
Welcome to episode 33, question mark, of Cooperators.
It is episode 33.
It is 30.
Yeah.
I always forget. I'm getting forgetful in my old age. I am Augmented Biscuits, and as always with me, until death do us part, Chucking Dice.
Hello.
Yeah, we're here on this fine Memorial Day. When we say
Yeah.
fine, should we say fine or more like...
Well, I got the day off, but you didn't really get the day off.
Well, I got Friday off.
Oh, you got Friday off.
Yeah, okay. So my place of employment actually gave me Friday and Monday off,
All right.
but because of the type of work I do in the department I'm in, they still kind of need like a skeleton crew. So
Right.
I volunteered to work today, which wasn't bad. I mean, it was only a few hours, but still, like, I don't know. I actually was okay with it because of the compensation they actually provide.
Oh, so you got like paid double time?
Yeah, well, I got the normal 8-hour holiday pay.
Right.
I meant normal rate, and then any hours that I work, I get the holiday pay.
Oh,
The
so you
double
get a
time.
whole day, and
So-
then you get addition to that.
Yes,
Yeah.
so I basically worked 4 hours at my normal rate, and
Right.
then 3 hours at my normal rate, and then 5 hours at 2.5 rate.
Right.
So not too bad.
Not too bad, yeah.
It was actually does help out because I that's one of the worst things about work is, like, imagine doing work, when you come back from a holiday break and you just have a flood of work, to do because everyone's submitting everything.
Right.
They're back from the vacation and stuff. So
I don't know what you mean.
yeah, that happens to my employment all the time.
Right.
People wait until the last minute and then they flood you with work. But
Well,
enough with work.
Yeah, that's what they do at my place too.
Yeah.
But
We got a lot of show today.
Not
finally
lately.
saw Avengers. We're gonna talk about
we're
that a
gonna
little
talk
bit.
about that.
Chucking Dice is very excited to talk about Curse of the Moon.
Bloodstained Curse of the Moon, which is created by is it Irigashu or
Koji
Irigashi?
Irigashi or
Irigashi.
Iga. They just call him Iga.
Iga?
Yeah,
Okay, we'll call him Iga because
everyone know Iga from. He didn't direct Castlevania 3, but I think he was like
one of the
I think-
creators that worked on it.
I think he was one of the designers.
Designers,
Yeah.
okay.
And then he.
Then he became like the guy to go to make a Castlevania.
Yeah, basically he
Yeah.
was like the head designer of the
Yeah.
of the Castlevania games. He also didn't direct Symphony of the Night, but he was the main kind of like concept guy behind
Right.
it. Yeah.
Giving that like role play feel rather than
I'm curious to know how that works in Japanese game development, like the hierarchy of like, what's the difference between a director and like their main design and producer and stuff like that.
right.
I'm curious to know, but yeah, he's well known for those two games. Like Chucking Dice said, once Symphony of the Night came out, they basically handed over the reins of Castlevania to him. So we got a bunch of Metroidvania games after
Right.
Symphony of the Night.
Actually, a lot of them I actually really dig.
Yeah.
Like some people don't like the ones that came after Symphony of the Night. I actually do like the ones that came after Symphony of the Night because
Yeah.
it kind of fixed issues that I had with Symphony of the Night.
I really liked Order of Ecclesia because
Right.
I always saw the other games, Symphony, Portrait of Ruin. Well,
I like
actually-
Portrait of Ruin. I think that's my favorite.
Yeah, Symphony. I feel like a lot of the games after Symphony,
Right.
up until you got to Portrait of Ruin, were really easy.
Right.
And I think starting with Portrait of Ruin, and especially with Order of Ecclesia, they added a good challenge. Like they actually added a good amount of difficulty.
All right.
Like I always thought Symphony was way too easy.
You know what? I don't think Symphony is easy if you don't want to explore every little nook and cranny. When Symphony, if you want to do that like total best ending thing, you have to explore the entire castle. You got to turn into a bat and just fly everywhere so the map just fully explored. Because you have to fully explore the map
Why
too.
do you hate the inverted castle so much?
Oh God, it's just that like okay, I get it. Inverted castle. I mean, it was neat when you first discovered it. But like I'm replaying Symphony on my PlayStation PSP, and I was just like playing and like I forgot how like cumbersome saves were. They just take forever, and like yeah, I just forgot how like like just slow pace the game is when you have to like stop and do something. Not to say that's a bad game. It's still a good game, but it's like I've seen this done faster on a Game Boy Advance on a game that's very similar to that. The other Metroidvania style games. But that's besides the point. I mean, it's still a good game, and like obviously the creators, still has some ideas on what he wants to be developed in his next game, of the Bloodstained saga. But let's move on to some negativity here.
Negativity?
Yeah, Augmented Biscuits was talking about game collectors just a second ago.
I didn't know we were going to talk about this.
Yeah,
Okay.
let's just do it.
All right.
So,
I just really want to kind of get this off my chest and go on a rant. Game collectors, seriously, you guys need to calm the fuck down. So recently, I decided to kind of dip into my. I wouldn't say I have a video game collection. I just have games that I really, really enjoyed that I kept. I don't really have an extension collection or anything. I wouldn't even call it collection. Kind of like Paul Giamatti's character in Sideways, where they ask him, I was like, "Oh, what's your wine collection?" He's like, "I don't really call it a wine collection, more like a gathering. I have a gathering of games." But then looking at them now, like after I sold my PS1 games, kind of looking, I was like, I think I can get rid of some of these. I don't really want to. I'm getting kind of tired. I know me and you were talking about this. We're getting kind of tired of like having to lug this stuff around every time we move.
Yeah, physical medium is like I love physical medium because like if the power goes, or let's say the internet goes out, you always have something. But at this point, I'm just like, Jesus Christ! I have so many comic books, so many movies, so many games. I need to let go of some of this stuff.
Actually, that's one thing I do want to touch upon one of these shows is digital comics, because I know I've always kind of wanted to. I never grew up on comics because I couldn't keep up with having to purchase them like week or month by month. So kind of curious about the digital comics description. But going back to video game collecting, I decided to sell some PS1 games.
Right.
And I actually sold these PS1 games through an app on the phone. And for the most part, all my listings were great except for one. One listing for these two games I decided to post as a bundle, Fear Effect 1 and 2 for the PS1. I posted on this app, and I specifically said in the posting that the jewel cases that they came in are cracked, but it has no bearing on the games. I said, these jewel cases are cracked, has no bearing on the games. I've tested the games myself. I tested them on PS3. They work perfectly. They boot up, blah, blah, blah. I also included free shipping. Essentially, I pay for the shipping. The buyer doesn't pay for the shipping.
You're making, you know that there's collectors out there that care about that stuff, but you're making it up to them.
Well, I wasn't really trying to shoot for. Well, actually didn't really think about it when I posted these. I didn't think about shooting for people who collect video games. I just wanted to post these and get rid of them. I also saw other people had posted these games, and they were kind of selling them for like, I think the going rate for these were like, I think $20 separately, kind of $40 as a bundle, blah, blah, blah. So I decided to post these. The thing with this app is people can message you and they can make an offer. Somebody messaged me. We went back and forth. Finally, we settled on an offer that we were both happy with. And I said, okay, fine. He purchased it. He messages me and he asks me, or this person, I should say this person. I don't know if it's a man or woman. But this person asked me if the jewel cases that these games came in, if they were those thick, you know how in the PS1 era, they had those double jewel cases that can hold up to like 4 games.
Oh, yes.
This guy said, are those type of jewel cases you have these? And I was like, yes. And he's like, do you mind putting some kind of packaging in the case with the disc so that they stay still and they don't come out and slide around? And it's like, sure. Again, please remember, just to reiterate, this is free shipping, so I have to pay for the shipping. I have to package this myself.
Right.
I shipped this thing off. I put, bubble wrap in the cases.
Yeah.
I wrap the entire jewel case in bubble wrap. I tape it. I put them both in a bubble mailer. I send them out to this guy or this person. This person, with this app, you have 3 days to rate the seller. When you receive the item, you basically have to test it out. And if it's good, you rate them, and that ends the transaction. And the seller can get their money, and the buyer is satisfied. This guy took forever. And he finally rated me, this person finally rated me in the middle of the night on, after 2 days of receiving his item. And he essentially said in the review, it was a good review, which is a kind of like middle okay review, but he said, Jewel cases are cracked. And I asked him to put them in the box, and he didn't. So the jewel cases became cracked.
Right.
And at the end, I'm happy that he did this at the end because I probably would have lost my shit. But at the end, he said, "But it has no effect on gameplay, so it's okay."
Well, I mean, that's what you said in the description.
Yeah, and I just lost my shit. Like, I was ready to fucking message the customer service on this app and basically tell them I want my item back.
Right.
You can refund all his money back. I want the item back. I do not want to sell it to this guy.
Right.
The problem is I didn't save the conversation that we had on the app, which is my own dumb fault. It wasn't as bad as I thought it was going to be, but it still kind of pissed me off. And I really should have looked at the person who bought this because when I went to this person's profile, there are, of course, a video game, like a new and used video game store.
Right.
Like basically, this person runs a new and used video game collection.
Oh, he's a reseller then.
He's a reseller.
Yeah.
So I was like fucking livid. And we have a mutual friend who also sold his entire video game collection on eBay, and he had a pretty bad experience as well.
He had a bad experience because he sold a copy of Earthbound, which is worth a lot of money, and he sold it for a lot of money. But he got a little bit of throwback because there was like a piece of cardboard that wasn't in the actual original game box. It's like it's inconsequential piece of cardboard, but this was important to this game collector who's probably just going to put it in his shelf and not actually play the game.
Yeah.
Which I think is a travesty because Earthbound is a great game.
And this is what really pissed me off. And I know I kind of went. It was kind of a long rant, but I'll wrap this up real quick. My problem with video game collecting and in general, and we were talking about this as digital revolution, is I really like you said, what is the point of making such a huge fucking deal about this if you're just going to put it on the shelf? Or let's say you do resell it.
Right.
The game still fucking works.
Mm-hmm.
Like, how fragile... I mean, growing up with these jewel cases, those things were always so fucking fragile. So this guy could have easily just gotten like a replacement jewel case, replaced it all, and sold it.
Yeah.
It's not like the buyer... Like, if he resold it to someone, it's not like the buyer's going to be like, oh, is this the original serial number for the jewel case? No one fucking cares, man.
I mean, I get like if someone's trying to sell like a one of those like fake games, like repro games or whatever, where they like try to pass it off as the original. Yeah, I kind of get that because if you're gonna say you're gonna masquerade as this is the original game and it's not the original game, because there's a potential, if our mutual friend, I was going to say Augmented Biscuits. It's Tiny Dinosaurs. Tiny Dinosaurs sold his Earthbound copy, and it was a fake Earthbound copy. Mm-hmm. And, the guy gets it, and he finds out that it's fake. I get that, because that's not authentic, and you advertise that this was the original game. Mm-hmm. However, if it is the original game, it's like, come on, guys, these things weren't sold from yesterday, and, none of these games, when they came out, did we ever think to ourselves, this is going to be a collector's item. Yeah. So if there's stuff missing, like an instruction booklet or the little plastic thing that Nintendo cartridges used to come in, obviously, I don't remember ever wanting to keep my boxes. I think the only box I kept was maybe my Ninja Turtles one, just because I think it had like a Pizza Hut coupon. No, that was in the instruction booklet. Never mind. I didn't keep that box ever either.
Did you get your Pizza Hut though?
I did get my Pizza Hut pizza. Nice. It's great. Pizza Hut pizza. It's great. That's something that you'll never hear ever again.
So seriously, I don't know. I am glad the digital revolution is happening. I'm glad these collectors are basically getting fucking pushed out. Because I also had, experiences going to Game Dude, and which I think is a really good store.
Yeah, I like that store.
Sometimes you get a little bad. You kind of get some kind of not very good interactions with some of the sellers, with some of the associates, but for the most part, it's been pretty good. But prices, Jesus Christ! Sometimes they just jack up the prices on something so much, and as soon as it comes out digitally, it gets re-released digitally, the price just dips, just crashes.
Yeah, I think the last time I went, they were trying to convince me the Transformers game, which I have down there. It's the one that's the G1 Transformers. I wanted to get it because I'm a huge Transformers fan. He was trying to convince me that game doesn't exist in physical form or digital form, but you can get this other Battle of Cybertron, which is not G1.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I was like, well, the point of it is I wanted the G1. I don't really care about the other Transformers. I want the Transformers that, you know, my childhood was a part of. And he was just like, well, those don't exist, man. You got to get this one. I'm like, I'm good, dude. I asked you a question. You didn't have it. It's cool. I'm not going to not come back here again.
Yeah.
But you don't need to sell me another game that I'm probably not going to enjoy. He was like, well, it's the original voices, which apparently wasn't the case.
Mm.
But then I found the game on Amazon for really cheap. And now I have a copy of it.
Yeah. It's fucking bullshit.
Yeah.
And I'm really glad that, you know, it's happening to GameStop too. I mean, they're not doing really well either. But I'm really, really glad that a lot of these different avenues of reselling your stuff, you know, eBay, the app I use. There's actually a lot of mobile apps that are like that, where you can just resell your stuff.
Because people are into this kind of stuff. I mean, I just picked up some old muscle things on eBay and stuff like that.
So if you end up deciding to sell your stuff, I will tell you this now. I would recommend you avoid. Sometimes it can be helped,
right?
But I would definitely say try to avoid selling your items, especially video games or even anything pop culture.
Yeah,
you know, video games, comics, movies like that.
That's all stuff I have.
Yeah, try your best to avoid selling your stuff to a collector,
right?
Because they are the pickiest, most annoying, most ridiculous fucking expectation. They have the most ridiculous expectations of all time.
Well, everything has to be mint condition when that's not going to be the case anymore. I mean,
fucking nerds.
I open my toys. Okay.
I feel like Ogre from Revenge of the Nerds.
Or Homer from that one episode
of
The Simpsons. Nerds!
All right, moving on. Sorry for the rant.
Let's move on to Bloodstained Curse of the Moon. I picked up this game. When did I pick it up? Thursday or Friday? Thursday, I think.
Thursday, yeah. Cause I texted you around Thursday.
Well, yeah, I texted you first, and I said, "Hey, dude, you got to pick up this game because this is like Castlevania 3, except
no,
it's better."
You. I texted you first.
You didn't.
I think you did text me.
I did text you.
Yeah, I was on my radar, and I think actually you did text me first.
That's right. Truth and nothing but the truth. So what this game is, and like we mentioned before, it's Ige's is Ige?
Yeah.
Ige's new game that he developed, but it's not the game that he actually kickstarted. This is sort of like one of those stretch goals.
Yeah, it's a companion piece.
Yeah.
It's if he met a stretch goal, he was to kind of tide people over. He was gonna make a smaller game.
Yeah.
Basically, make an updated version of Castlevania 3 for people, and people lost their shit.
Yeah, you can control up to 4 characters. I think the original character name's Zagaratsu or something like that. He's like a samurai type character, and then you can get Miriam, who is more of like a traditional Simon Belmont type character. Then Alfred, who's actually like Sypha from Castlevania 3. He's like uses magic, and then Gebel, I think that's how you pronounce it, is basically Alucard from Castlevania 3. It's a really incredible game. I mean, I was like floored by the level design, just the look of it. It has a very authentic 8-bit look. It's not an 8-bit game like traditionally, but enough's there to kind of like, you know, get you back in nostalgia mode. What's cool is that there's a veteran mode and a casual mode. And I was playing in veteran mode for a while, but it just got a little too hard. And I just don't have time to play the same level over and over and over again. It just makes it, if anything, it makes it more frustrating, but it's like a fun frustrating. It's like you want to get back in there and play it again. So like after a while, I just put on casual mode. Yes, I'm a person who likes to play in casual mode because, for God's sakes, I just don't have time to play these games all the freaking time. But it's still fun, and it's still actually casual mode's it's still pretty hard, at least for me. Because like I'll miss a jump or over jump or what have you, and get hit in midair and then fall to my death, as you do in a platformer. But the bosses are incredible. I just had so much fun like doing figuring out people's specialties, like their secondary weapons, because they're all different. Some of the special weapons actually do the same thing, at least between Zagarath and am I saying that right? I'm saying
I have no idea. I have no idea what these fucking characters are called. I just know There's the sword dude.
Right. Okay.
There's
Here we go. Here we go. I got it. Zangetsu is the
Zangetsu.
main character. He basically, to me, is like a samurai character, but he also can get a whip, and he uses a magic charm, which is sort of like the holy water, and then he can power up his sword. So he kind of is like Fuma from I can't even remember that name, Fuma Getsudin or whatever that game is. Fuma is also in the Harmony of Despair. He's one of the other players that you can get, but he's from another 8-bit game. But he's got like a little sword. You can get like special moves only if you like. So in the original Castlevania, where you can pick up the characters, and obviously we just mentioned that in Curse of the Moon, you can do that same thing. But if you end up just killing the characters, you gain special abilities, which I didn't know until I looked this up.
You kill which?
Okay, so so after you beat a boss, you can So after you beat this, like for example, if you beat this train boss, you'll get the first character, Miriam, just standing in front of you. And if you go up to her, press up, you can talk to her, and you'll have a conversation between the two, and it's hilarious. So Zangetsu always says like, you have been blessed by the demon. Like, what makes you think I should not chop you down right now? And they say something like, no, I know I have demon powers, but I'm actually against the demons. So let me help you, and whatever. So you can do that, or you can just walk past them, and then you won't gain the person as the ally. Or you can just start striking them until they die. And when they die, you gain a spirit power.
Really?
Yeah.
I didn't even know this.
I didn't know this either.
So you have three options. You can either join. They can either join you.
Yeah.
You can walk by them and ignore them, or you can kill them and take their power.
Exactly. So for example, the spirit powers that you can get is Crescent Moon, which is like this sort of downward strike, like a downward like samurai strike. You can do the Blood Moon, which is the double jump, and then the New Moon, which you can just dash at high speeds. So very similar to Redondo of Blood, a lot of the stuff that Richter Belmont could do in his game.
And these do you get each of these powers from each person you...
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, so that means like, you either can have these powers and no allies, or you can have allies.
Oh man, I gotta play this like 5 times, bro.
I think it's such a well-made game, and like there's so much replay value now. Like even the original Castlevania 3 didn't have replay value like this, because it was limited, obviously. Then there's Miriam, she's more of the traditional Castlevania type fighter. She has a higher jump. She can slide and do this like small little sort of like kick thing, but it's mostly just used to slide underneath, crevices. She can throw a dagger, which is useful because it goes across the screen. There's these 3 daggers she can throw diagonally, and then there's this like heavy axe that she can just like basically swing and like almost kill, an enemy in one shot. But the most helpful for me is the sickle, because like you can throw it and it's like a boomerang.
Oh yeah, I use a sickle.
Yeah, I use a sickle all the time.
I hate the axe.
Yeah, I hate the axe too, because I was like, I'm not going to get this close to the enemy because she has a whip. Then the next guy is Alfred, who's basically like Sypha from Castlevania 3. He has Burning Sphere, which is like a rotating, fire circle, which I thought was useless until I started finding areas where it was really helpful. The other one is Frost Caliber, which is like you can freeze enemies and just hit them once and break them into pieces, which Sypha actually has in Castlevania 3. The difference is that it's this huge ass like arrowhead that goes across the screen and just freezes anything in its path. The Soul Vision, which creates a duplicate Alfred, so that way you can use your little wand power to hit enemies. I find that the most useless. But the one is the most powerful is Voltaic Ray, which he can throw these like 3 electrical, lightning bolts that like travel across the screen. It'll actually trace the enemies. It's very similar to Sypha's electrical balls from Castlevania 3. Electrical balls. And obviously the last person is Gebel, who I want to say that they just wanted to use Alucard as a character and just changed his name. He can turn into a bat. The difference between Gebel from Alucard is that as a bat, he can actually charge people and deals damage to enemies. And then that's about it. He doesn't have any other secondary weapons. It's more of like a character that, like, if you don't want to face this level, you can turn into a bat and just fly to another platform and just skip a bunch of enemies, which I have used numerous times. The one thing I just keep on doing is I forget which button is the metamorphosis button, and sometimes when I'm flying, I just hit the metamorphosis button instead of like the attack button, and I'll just turn into normal Gebel and just fall into the pit of the screen. I'm like, Jesus Christ, why'd I do that? He throws 3 bats as his normal attack. Very similar to Alucard's 3 like energy balls. I said balls again. In the original Castlevania 3. The one thing out of all these games is that there's no weapon upgrade. So basically, your weapon is the strongest it can be. Actually, I'm sorry. I take that back. There is sort of an upgrade. You can get these like artifacts that can increase your health, and I think increase your sort of ability to withstand damage, and I think increases your attack power. I couldn't find a booklet except for these like 3 little like explanations here. I haven't really looked that deep, but I'm trying to figure out if like the bags do anything. I know that like sort of the containers are like hearts. Like it's like these like vases or whatever. But I'm having a hard time figuring out what all the other items do, if they're just only points or whatever. There's no like 3-shot, like, you know, in the original Castlevania 3, you could get like a 2 or a 3 that basically says how many sub-weapons you can have on screen at one point. That's not in this game. I think you can just naturally throw 3 types of weapons if that's actually available for that type of weapon. For example, I think Miriam can actually throw the 3 sickles. But I'm not sure if that doesn't apply to every weapon. For example, Zangetsu can throw a whip diagonally, but that's pretty much all it does. Just a longer reach for enemies that are coming at an angle. The boss battles, like I said, are incredible. I love them. I love huge boss battles in 8-bit games. They're just more fun than just hitting like a big bruiser that comes across the screen. Not that I don't like that. Like, I like when games kind of lead up to bigger and bigger boss battles. But this one just like doesn't mess around. Everything is a big boss battle. Like, you know, you have this guy who's like throwing coins at you, and like he's trying to crush you with a pile of coins. You can hit the coins to like climb over him, to like kind of like, you know, dissipate them and trying to like, you know, dodge him. And then while you're up there, you can start hitting the enemy in the head, because that's like the most vulnerable part. That's that enemy right here I'm showing on screen. But it's really, really fun stuff. I really dig this game. Oh, look at that. It's Vic. Hey, how's it going? Happy Memorial Day, Vic. We're just talking about Curse of the Moon.
Hi, Vic.
Hey.
Welcome back. Our best and only audience member. This is why he's the best.
What'd you think of the game? You played it as well, Augmented Biscuits?
I love it. I actually I think it's a really nice update to Castlevania 3. I still I mean, to this day, Castlevania 3 is my favorite.
Right.
Of the NES Castlevanias. I never really played the Super Nintendo ones, but obviously, you know, Symphony of the Night is my favorite for the 32-bit versions. But I love it. Yeah. I think it's really cool. It plays really well. You know, I agree with you. The casual mode is probably the sweet spot for me. I didn't know about these different kind of mechanics, so I'm definitely going to probably play this multiple times. I love that it's on a variety of platforms. You know, I know you said you bought it for a console, but you also have it on your 3DS. You know,
What'd you get it on?
I actually got it on the 3DS. No, sorry. I got it on the PS4.
I got it on the PS4. I actually got it on my PS4 as well.
I was thinking of getting it on the 3DS, but I think because I'm considering getting a Switch, I actually might get it on a Switch eventually.
That makes a lot of sense.
But I really dug it. I mean, I played a lot when I got on the PS4. I didn't get too far, though. I think I think the character I just got was the alchemist dude.
Oh, Alfred. Yeah.
Alfred. I haven't gotten the vampire dude. I haven't gotten Alucard. I haven't gotten
Gebel. His name's Gebel.
I haven't gotten Gebel. But
it's a weird name.
I really have a little. I'm really enjoying it. I mean, I It's got really, like you were saying, it's got really good level design. It's got really cool graphics, really nice throwback.
Right.
The one thing I like is that even though the graphics are like a throwback, they do still have a lot of detail to them, like Shovel Knight. Like, those were 8-bit graphics, but they have like a lot of nice details on little like.
Oh yeah, my favorite thing in Shovel Knight is when he like digs through a treasure chest and he's like taking out all these items. It's like that's the most hilarious thing to me.
And I'm actually really I'm pleasantly surprised by how well this game plays. So I'm really looking forward to Bloodstained Ritual of the Night.
Right.
Mainly because I want to see if they can really. I'm hoping they stick the follow up and, just how people are enjoying this as a Castlevania 3 throwback and how it's really kind of like brought that gameplay and formula into the modern age of games. I'm hoping that happens with Ritual of the Night, and they freshen up and kind of modernize that Metroidvania gameplay and mechanics, because it's been a while since we had something like that. I know a lot of indie games have kind of followed suit in that kind of gameplay, but I feel like they're still doing a lot of the same things we saw in like Symphony of the Night or like Metroid.
Right. But moving on here.
So I highly recommend it.
Yeah, I highly recommend this game. I like everyone who's a fan of Castlevania should check this game out. So finally, Augmented Biscuits has checked out Infinity War, and now we can actually talk about Infinity War, the biggest movie of the summer.
I fucking hate
They're at $1.9 billion, I think, at this point.
It's fucking shit. I fucking hated it.
I really dug the movie myself because I've been a huge MCU fan for a while, just because I've been a big Marvel fan for the longest time.
You told me you were a DCU fan better, like you were more of a DCU fan.
Oh yeah, because I love
especially Martha.
Yeah, like people having the same name of their mothers are the same name. That's brilliant writing right there.
That is great writing.
Oh God. So you finally saw it. Like my description to it is like it's like that Capcom video game.
The War of the Gems.
Yeah, because
that was the funniest thing. Is I was when I was watching this in the movie theater, I started kind of chuckling. My wife's like, "What are you laughing at?" And I was like, "Oh, I'll tell you later." And I was telling my wife how the fight scenes, that they have with Thanos, really like. Chuck and Dice summed it up perfectly.
Yeah.
The fight scenes essentially mirror the Marvel vs. Capcom game, or not the Marvel vs. Capcom games, the actual
is it Marvel Superheroes?
Marvel Superheroes War of the Gems game.
Yeah.
Like if you played that fighting game or even the platformer on the SNES, that is essentially what the Thanos fight is. And I will say, I actually was so I was so excited to see him using each of the different stones, like the powers, which I thought was really
cool.
Yeah. I was hoping
reality.
I was hoping they do call outs like that. Like Thanos was just like, reality and like power and like soul or whatever. Yeah. But it was great. I mean, it's a
first attack.
It's a lot to unpack though. I will say there's a lot going on in this movie. They do not recap anything. They really expect the people who have been watching these movies since
10 years ago.
Since
10 years ago.
Since the first Iron Man to really know what the hell's going on.
Yeah.
There's certain characters that work really, really well together. Actually, all the characters actually work really, really well together. Other characters kind of don't get too much screen time. I was kind of I wasn't surprised that they omitted a couple characters, but for the most part, I think I really think the Russo brothers did basically impossible and made a very cohesive movie with so many characters and so many stars and so many like essentially just kind of getting everything together and it making sense and actually being fun and interesting. And
it's tough to do a story that's so ingrained in science fiction on screen without making it look like, I guess, Star Wars.
Yeah.
I felt like this was Marvel, and I didn't like make the connection, like, because like a lot of people, when they tend to do is you have to have this big cosmic battle, just like Star Wars, and sometimes, like most of the time, that stuff just doesn't work. I remember when Superman Lives was going to come out, and the producer, I think it was John Peters, he wanted to make everything look like Star Wars. That's where, like, Kevin Smith was involved, and Tim Burton was involved at that point. Looks like Vic has some comments here. I'm waiting for Middle Earth: Shadow of War to download it. That's taking forever. That is taking forever. I haven't even heard about another Middle Earth game.
It's okay.
Is it?
If you liked, what was the first game?
I don't
I
know.
don't remember the first game.
Was it Modor or whatever?
Shadow of Mordor. If
Yeah.
you like the first game, you'll definitely like this one, Vic.
Oh, that's the one with the orcs where they're like,
yeah, you can basically.
who are you?
Yeah, you can.
You're my enemy.
You will enjoy this one. It's a lot more of the first game.
Yeah.
They also did the developers also did a lot by getting rid of like the microtransactions and stuff, so it's not as annoying. But I think you'll enjoy it.
Right.
It is a huge game though. It is like a huge game.
He also mentions that he enjoyed the Thor and Guardians part. The others with I like the Iron Man parts. Have you seen Marvel vs. Capcom figs that Target has?
No, I haven't.
I
But
don't-
now that they have them, maybe I'll go check them out.
Well, I don't know if you're talking about the same thing, Vic, but I have these like miniature, I think they're called nano figs. They're made out of metal. And they made out the DC, they made like WWE, they made Street Fighter. And I do have Marvel and DC. They were like kind of just on next to my television here, all grouped together. I do have those, and I think those look amazing. I didn't know that they made more Capcom figures. Like if they have a Mega Man, I should get that one. But I do have the miniature ones, like them. They're called nano figs, and it's great. They're made out of metal. You can throw them at the kid, and like you can just like hit him in the head and make him cry. That's the reason why I got them. Getting back to Marvel.
Marvel.
Talking about making people cry.
Yeah. It was a really intense movie too.
Yeah.
There was moments. The Russo brothers did a really good job of balancing a really heavy movie with like some humor and some like nice sweet moments. I'm glad they reduced Black Widow's screen time. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. I this movie just works really, really well. Like I really gotta say, this is a very well put together movie.
Yeah, I mean, I dug it. It's like some of it's based on Infinity Gauntlet, but not all of it, because to be honest, Infinity Gauntlet to me wasn't the greatest crossover book ever. I mean, if you want to ask me what the greatest crossover book ever was, to me it's this Infinite Crisis on Infinite Earths, which was a DC property. But it still worked well. Like I think it still had like that fun factor that Infinity Gauntlet had, excluding like, the decapitation of Iron Man and Spider-Man's face being bashed in with a rock by some made-up villain. But I, for the most part, liked Infinity War. I think it's just the idea of a crossover was just so fun to me as a kid, and then growing up and seeing it just kind of play out in live action, just kind of just kind of like hits that nerve as a kid when I saw all my favorite superheroes on a cover at once. Vic's saying, I'm looking at my Street Fighter Nano set on my bookshelf. Haha, I'm going to throw them at the kids. That is the most fun thing ever, Vic. Because they're like, what is that? And it's like Ryu. And he's like, I just can you. That's how a Shoryuken feels. You must defeat Shang Long to beat him. Which obviously they can't, because that's like the most ultimate move ever. Except for Proton Cannon.
What are we even talking about?
I don't know. Let's not. I mean, what are we here at 40 minutes? Okay, so I just wanted to touch upon Infinity War because, like, finally, you saw it. There's something else I wanted to talk about is Solo, which I did see over the 3-day weekend.
Did you see it solo?
No.
Okay, we're done. We're good.
We're good. No, I saw it with some friends. We were like. Here's the thing. We were on the cusp of either watching Solo or watching Infinity War again. I kind of wanted to watch Infinity War again just because I wanted to kind of check out all the Easter eggs that I missed the first time around. But we can, we'll touch upon Solo. Here's the thing. I can't really say like spoiler because everyone who's ever watched Star Wars knows how this character is going to turn out. And the thing is that in this movie, he's pretty much that same character. So, I want to say that there's really no point in watching this movie if you already know who Han Solo is. And, if you really want to get to know who Han Solo is, you really should watch Episode 4, A New Hope, because that's when you get to know who Han Solo is. like with that being said, let's see. Vic Rules Solo sells Solo cups with Solo on the bag. They do?
Yeah.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Remember the Solo cup? You know
Yeah,
the Solo cups,
I know the
right?
Solo cups, the red cups.
Well,
Yeah.
they had like special Solo cups where
Yeah.
they just had the Han Solo. It's really stupid.
Oh, I'd buy that.
It's like it's basically there was a tweet where someone said, I'm so glad I'm alive during this great like kind of circle of life turnaround. Like everything in human history has led to this point, and it's a picture they took of the Solo cups at a supermarket that has Han Solo on it, and it's like go see Solo.
Moon pies, what a world we live in.
Yeah.
Looks like we're getting some interference here, but
that's because we're talking about
Solo.
Many Solo.
Yeah. I don't know. I mean, you can check it out if you want to. Like, I would. This is like what I don't really say this often, but you could probably just wait until it comes to home media.
Would it be better if we just read the Wikipedia synopsis of it?
I don't like doing that because to me that's like reading like Cliff Notes.
Hey, don't talk shit about Cliff Notes, okay?
If anyone knows what Cliff Notes is, but that was Wikipedia entries back in the day. It's just that it was just not that great of a movie. It's not a bad movie. That's the thing. It's not terrible. It's not Clone Wars terrible. It's still like sort of fun, but like at this point you're watching this character evolve and you're like looking at it and it's like, well, this is exactly how he evolved in A New Hope. And it's like I don't really care that much because I've already seen this before. I mean, it was cool to see how Han met Chewie, but like, it's not like I needed that. Like, the other actors involved, Emilia Clarke, is that her name? Emilia Clarke. Okay, yeah. She plays Kira with a Q, I guess. And she's supposed to be one of the people that that Solo grew up with, before in not Coruscant. Where's he from? Corellian.
Corellia?
Corellia. She's a Corellian as well. And then, they're trying to escape Corellia because it's more of like a dump since the Empire took over. And they get separated. Han ends up joining the Empire just to kind of like...
Does Chewie bite somebody's head off?
No, but he does pull some arms off a Gundark, I guess.
Nice.
I think they were Gundarks. Yeah, they were Gundarks. And then, obviously, Lando is Lando.
I only wanted to watch this movie because of Donald Glover being Lando.
I mean, I kind of wanted to watch it because I'm a Han Solo fan. He's Captain Kirk if he never joined the Federation, essentially. He's like and Lando is also Captain Kirk if he was more of a womanizer and black.
Wait, Captain Kirk isn't black?
Do you think that that cameo is going to work into his own movie? Okay, I don't know should I just spoil for you?
What?
Like what happens at the end of Solo?
What happens at the end of Solo? Does he drink out of a Solo cup?
No, he doesn't. There's actually a big spoiler.
Spoiler.
Yeah.
I honestly don't know.
Right.
Nah.
No, I'll let you.
It just came out this week.
To answer your question, Vic, I don't think it's going to make a difference because I believe that cameo got handled in another Star Wars property, and it's to me like I think they were banking on this movie doing well, which it's doing okay, I guess, but not really. It's not doing gangbusters, so that might deter them from actually doing another one of these movies. But who knows? Like, it's only been a weekend. Maybe it'll like hit big, but it's just not big in Asia. That's the big thing, is that it's not big in Asia at all.
That's right, because the Asian territories are like they're huge moneymakers.
Yeah,
it's so funny how
just
now
Asian territories just don't give a shit about Star Wars films.
Yeah, it's just so funny how nowadays it's not even the U.S. market you want to hit big. You want to hit big in China.
Well, I mean, they're digging everything else. They're digging the Marvel stuff because they know about the Marvel stuff. They're digging the DC stuff because they know about the DC stuff. Star Wars wasn't really introduced to them until like 1997 when they saw the special editions. And I'm specifically saying China. And they looked at them and they were just like, this is just an old movie. Why am I watching this?
Yeah.
It's like they don't like old stuff. And that's a terrible way to look at it, but they also got the crap version of those films.
Hey, China used to be cool, okay? Yeah. China used to be cool.
China's still cool. They're still into stuff, but like then they'll pay attention to more to Fast and the Furious because that speaks to the spectacle.
I like China because they gave us Donnie Yen.
Actually, I like China because they gave us Donnie Yen too. Yeah. The most ultimate character, Chirrut.
I think Donnie
Chirrut is the ultimate character in Star Wars.
I just want Donnie Yen to be in everything.
Yeah.
Why can't we have Donnie Yen and everything?
I think Donnie Yen was going to be in Iron Man 3, but he couldn't be in it in the last minute.
I want them to remake what's that movie with Chris Tucker and Jackie Chan?
Oh, Rush Hour?
Rush Hour. I want them to remake Rush Hour, but I want them to put Donald Glover and Donnie Yen in it.
Vic Rule says, ever seen Turkish Star Wars? I have seen clips of it. I've also seen clips of Turkish. I actually own Turkish Star Trek. It is the most wackiest thing ever. Have you ever seen that?
No.
It's funny. Like the Turkish.
Is it better than Thumb Wars? Because I kept seeing.
It's.
A mutual acquaintance of ours. I went to their apartment once, and they had all the Thumb Wars, like all these thumb movies. Basically, people using their thumbs to remake these movies.
Yeah. I'm not a big fan of those.
They had like, I shit you not, they had at least 10 of them, and I looked right at that person, and I go, "Why do you own these?" And they legitimately looked at me seriously, and they're like, "They're really funny and great." And I go, "Yeah, but why do you own them?" And that, no.
I mean, I own the Turkish Star Trek just because I'm a fan of Star Trek.
Yeah.
I'd probably grab the Turkish Star Wars next time I go to because I can find these on bootlegs at horror movie conventions. It's just these ridiculous scenes that are intercut with actual scenes from the movie.
Now I kind of want to see these.
Yeah.
So Solo. Rental.
Rental if you want.
Streaming.
Streaming.
I might just stream it.
I wouldn't recommend bootlegging because I don't recommend bootlegging ever. Even though I've done it in the past.
Can I just watch the Donald Glover scenes?
But I don't do it anymore, huh?
I just want to watch the Donald Glover scenes.
You could if you wanted to. But yeah, I don't know. It just didn't hit on all cylinders for me. I don't know if Vic liked it. Vic, let us know if you liked Solo.
Do you think this was also? Do you think out of all the individual movies that they wanted to make, you think this is the one that they? Well, you know what? Here's the thing. You said it was you feel like this movie was unnecessary or there was kind of no point to it.
Yeah, there was.
Do you feel the same way with Rogue One?
I feel that Rogue One, there was no point to it either, just because we already knew what was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yet the flip side of Rogue One was I thought Rogue One was actually a pretty good movie. Because it was actually really well made, and I actually this is actually it kind of there's a heart to it.
Do you think Rogue One might have succeeded? In your view, do you think Rogue One succeeded because it showed you a perspective of something we all knew, but from a more a different perspective, from more the grunts, not the Jedi or mysticism or the heroes, more of the grunt level of these guys are gonna fucking die.
Yeah, I think that was kind of an interesting thing because we never really had a face of what the Rebel Alliance was before, I guess, Luke Skywalker and Han Solo. But I felt like what they showed in Solo is something that we've already seen.
Yeah. I feel...
Oh, looks like Vic liked it.
So Vic said Solo had a good Episode 4 feel. I liked it. That whole kind of different perspective, I feel like that was what I enjoyed about Last Jedi as well. Ignoring all the stuff that happened with the main characters, with Daisy Ridley's story and John Bodega. I always want to say Bodega. And Oscar Isaac. I still enjoyed everything that was not part of that main story. All kind of the ground level stuff, the Benicio del Toro and him just kind of explaining it's not really the world isn't the galaxy isn't black and white. It's a lot of gray. There's people who do good and bad things. It's hard to have heroes. So I think as you get older, I mean I don't know. There's people who agree with me. As you get older, you get a little more become a little more cynical. But I think you also stop. I mean, would you agree? As you get older, you get a little more cynical, and you kind of stop believing of the world as black and white. There's not gonna be. Not everyone is perfect. There's not a lot of black and white. There's a lot of gray. A lot of shit goes down in the real world. So I feel like Rogue One and Last Jedi kind of brought that upon the Star Wars movies, and I think that's one of the reasons why a lot of people give those movies shit, is because they wanted this whole fantasy sci-fi, like, we got the ultimate heroes and we got the ultimate bad guys and the heroes are gonna win. And when you get shit like Last Jedi where shit just ends and it's like, you know, kind of open-ended, but also it's not a lot of like, it's not your typical, you know, hero's journey, like good guys win.
All right.
You know, I think that's why a lot of people give it shit. So I think maybe that's why Solo might not, in your eyes, you know, would you agree, like, if we saw it, that maybe that's why people didn't like it?
Well, I mean, like Vic said that Solo had a good episode 4 feel, and he liked it. So, I mean, some people, you know, genuinely liked it. I'm not saying that I hate it. I hate it. I think it was good. It just seemed it didn't have like that oomph that it needed to like kind of like sort of like set itself apart from episode 4, I guess. I guess the lighting was a bit different. It was more like this like sort of darker lighting.
Do you think Han Solo does Han Solo make out with Woody Harrelson at all?
No.
Damn it! I'm not watching it then.
So there's this weird fixation with people and like watching movies. I know that you're joking about it and stuff like that, but there's a weird fixation of like wanting like characters to just flat out just do it.
I just wanted a kiss. I just wanted to be more like.
Are they gonna kiss? Why aren't they kissing?
It's like when we were playing Dead Space 3 and they're like, and then Isaac slowly approaches Carver and they start kissing.
And then they
they fight. So yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think I might check out Solo.
I mean, yeah, like if you're a fan of Solo, go ahead and like that's the key thing. That's the reason why I went to go check it out, because I'm a fan of Solo. I don't think this, you know, to me that movie you could take out Solo and put in a different character, but you know, I don't know, maybe Captain Kirk. But to me, it's a Solo movie.
No, we need to take out Solo and put Jordan Forge in there.
Okay, so this next portion we're doing, we only have about 7 minutes left here or whatever. We're gonna do. This is all gonna be about Vic. Vic, this is your life of comments that we've collected.
Our best and only audience member.
So Vic, aka Victor Laube, the guy who is a comic book artist himself. We're gonna go through all the comments that you have made on our videos. We promised that we would do this, so here it is. So I selected these, and I think these are all of them. I'm not sure, but I think you joined us in around episode 5 of Co-operators, and it's not hitting the next. Okay, there we go. So this is the first comment you made about a year ago. Codename Veronica was a great Resident Evil. No P, now I got PTSD. No PT, I'm sorry, now I got PTSD. So you're not a fan, Augmented Biscuits is not a fan of Code Veronica. I actually am. I actually like it.
I fucking hate Code Veronica.
Like, I love it.
I fucking can't stand that guy.
It's my favorite game.
I hate it. I hate the fucking game.
You know what? One of the things that I really liked about it is sort of the heavies in that game, the brother and sister. You think the sister's still alive, but it's more of like a Norman Bates kind of thing where the brother is just parading around as the sister. Mm-hmm. I kind of like that big twist in there. But it does play similar to all the other Resident Evil games up to that point. It was just that sort of like, you know, static camera and you're just walking through a pre-rendered scene. I still enjoyed it just because I, you know, kind of dug parts of the story. I like the fact that you can control Claire Redfield and then you can control Chris Redfield later. And PT, you know, that kind of sucks that we didn't get that PT game.
God damn it.
But we got Resident Evil 7. Which is like the Code Veronica of today, right?
No. I think the reason why I didn't like Code Veronica is it's too fucking hard for me. I'm like, there's a lot of backtracking, and I just feel like Code Veronica is just, I don't know. I mean, it is a Resident Evil game. I know it sounds stupid because it is a Resident Evil game, and Resident Evil games are about backtracking, but I don't know. I don't know why. I could not get into Code Veronica.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't get into the remake because I had to do a lot of backtracking that I didn't want to do, that I remember doing back in the first game. Mm-hmm. And I was just like, I don't want to do this anymore. Let's move on here. Is that it? Oh, crap. Okay, there we go. The Conan MMORPG is a great one as well. To this day, I haven't done the Conan MMORPG. Have you played it?
No, but I saw somebody playing it when it first came out. I had a coworker when I was working at a certain company.
Can you play as Andy Richter, or can you only be Conan O'Brien?
You can only be Conan O'Brien. Okay. You can only have red hair. Okay. I remember him playing it, but he was nervous to play it because one of the big selling points for the Conan MMO was that it had nudity. like full on fucking like detailed nudity. And he was like, because he said when you play it, the opening, you're basically like a sex slave,
Right.
and you kind of throw the chains, you kind of break your chains and become your own person. He's like, it was especially apparent with like if you were playing as a woman character,
Right.
you're basically a sex slave. If you're a
Oh.
dude, you're like a labor slave.
Right.
And I guess that's how it started off in the Conan MMO. I don't know, but he said the combat was great. Here's the thing. My problem with MMOs is they all devolve into the same shit.
Yeah, you're just kind of going through the
You're
motions
just grinding.
after a while.
Yeah, you're just going through motions. Like I really wanna like the Elder Scrolls online MMO, like the MMO for Elder Scrolls, but you get down to it, it's a fucking MMO.
Yeah, like when we were talking about Curse of the Moon. I keep on calling it Circle of the Moon because that's an actual Castlevania game. Actually, no, that's a Castlevania game hack. But I'm actually playing that game. It feels like I'm playing that game. MMOs, I just generally, it doesn't feel like I'm playing anything.
You know which fucking MMO sucks that just came out on console?
What's
Terra.
that?
Fuck that game. That game's a fucking piece of shit.
Right.
Okay, moving
on. Okay, try co-op on Divinity. Original Sin is a cool RPG. I think the price dropped on it recently.
We actually, both Chuck and Dice and I, bought this game based on your recommendation. And while we liked the depth of it and you know the game itself, very detailed, very actually really cool presentation.
Was this the turn-based one that we played?
Yeah, we just didn't like that it was too slow.
Yeah. The fourth wall has been broken. I saw Deadpool. I like Deadpool. Ha ha ha! Nice thumbnail. Well, thank you, Vic. I don't know. I don't remember which thumbnail. Actually, no, that was the thumbnail that had Vic on it. His like little 8-bit avatar. From actually, what's it called? Code Monkeys or something like that. The television.
think so?
It's like a modified version of it.
Oh, okay.
Next one. His apartment is very Blade Runner. I wish the new ones were more like the first Deus Ex, but they're okay. Oh, we're talking. This is the game that you played.
Which one?
I forgot. I can't remember, but it was a very kind of Blade Runner flavor to it. And you were walking around your apartment at one point, checking out stuff, and it had a very Blade Runner feel to it.
Were we talking about Prey?
Yeah. I don't know. I forgot what the game was. Like I can't remember all these little comments. Let's move on. So many great games. Yes, there is. There is, Vic.
Yeah.
There are so many great games out there. You know what? I remember this one. We were talking about Dungeons and Dragons. We were talking about like the Nintendo games, I think, like the Polar Radiance and stuff like that. The Gold Box games.
Oh,
yeah.
Gotcha.
I remember playing those games a long time ago and having a lot of fun, just because it was kind of cool to play Dungeons and Dragons without needing a game master. But I think on retrospect, I tried playing those games again on Nintendo through an emulator, and yeah, it's not that great, but for its time, very innovative. Gojira.
Yeah. I think
That was Shin Gojira.
Yeah.
That was Shin Gojira,
Yeah,
definitely.
we could sing Godzilla and Vic yelled at us and said it's Gojira.
Gojira. It is Gojira, though. You're correct. That is the original name of Godzilla. It wasn't until that it was brought over that it was renamed Godzilla. Here we go. Here's a new one. Here's a sort of a chain one. Pat the NES Punk has a great show. I agree. Haha, great show. Thank you, Vic. Sad Virgil, which we were talking about Virgil from the WWF. And I said, I feel so bad for him. Because I did. Because every time I see Virgil from the WWF doing a signing, no one goes to his table. Like, I want to chat him up and possibly get his autograph. But then, like, at the last minute, I was like, nah, I'm not going to do that. But Vic said, checking dice, careful, he's an upseller. So that makes me never want to go to his table.
Who?
Virgil, he used to be the bodyguard to the $1 Million Man, and he would always carry his cash around. He didn't really wrestle in the beginning in the WWF. It wasn't until later he became like his own man and wrestled, and he wasn't a very good wrestler. But he always like goes to these like conventions like Comic-Con and like all these other science fiction conventions, and no one is at his table like looking at his merch or anything. They're not really talking to him because I think at this point, during this day and age, no one really remembers who he is. I'm sure if he goes to like maybe a wrestling convention, that more people would go up to him. But at a comic book convention, unless you're like Stone Cold or someone, like Mankind or something like that, they're not going to know who you are.
When do you think do you think the time is now where anything in the 80s is you're just too old to like?
No, it's not.
It's too far.
Not really, because Ready Player One and Stranger Things have brought all that stuff back.
Oh.
I think we're at that point where, because if you kind of look at the stuff that we were into like maybe 20 years ago, that they were still harking back stuff from the 60s and 50s. Like It, for example, the original It, that took place in like the 50s. So like a lot of stuff in there, like the music and stuff. So I think we're still in that zone where people are calling back the 80s, just because it was just an iconic time for a lot of movies and pop culture.
I can't wait until we forget about the 70s.
I think at that point, we're at the point that maybe we've forgotten a little bit of it, but we still have people who are into like classic rock and stuff.
I also
want
to forget about the 80s and the 90s and the 2000s.
You just want this like void of time.
Yes.
Yeah.
I just want to be like the Langoliers.
Yeah. Every show needs a clip. That's from the 90s. Every show needs a clip show that this kind of does that. Yep, we're doing a clip show. Exactly, Vic. We've run out of ideas. We need to fill our season up. Okay, Augmented Biscuits. Just let your soul glow. Just let it shine through.
What were we talking? I didn't even know what we were talking about in this one.
I thought we were talking about. What were we talking about?
Maybe it was one of my really angry rants, and Vic was like, "I think you need to like calm down." Maybe, I don't know.
Were we talking about like Varsity Blues or something like that?
Oh, maybe.
I don't want your life. I don't know. Yeah, that's a mystery too.
I don't remember. Vic, if you remember, let us know.
Yeah.
Why were we talking about my soul glowing? I don't know.
He said great show though. Thank you, Vic.
Thank you, Vic.
And then this was just an emoji of you laughing. I don't recall what this was about.
This is probably when we were talking about.
Yeah.
I have no idea.
Yeah. Okay, here we go. Homeopathic remedies. Yeah, they don't work. Just got Torment Tides of Numeria for Xbox One. Only like 1 hour, and it's amazing so far. Reminds me of Planetscape Torment a lot. Highly recommend it. I don't have an Xbox One, but if that is cross-platform, I guess I should go check it out. I think they filmed both already. I don't know what we were talking about during that time. Oh, okay. So Vic says Coming to America, maybe, which would make sense because you don't like that film.
Oh, I fucking hate that movie. Oh, my God. God damn it, Vic. Why'd you have to remind me?
Yeah, that's the prequel to Black Panther.
I fucking hate it. I hate that fucking movie.
Black Panther? It's a great film.
No, Coming to America.
Oh, you're racist still.
I am pretty racist. I hate all white people.
Let's move on here. Is Sword Coast Legends online only, or can you play offline?
Oh, this is that. Basically, it's like a video game version of Dungeons and Dragons.
Oh, okay.
Remember, like you can.
Oh yeah, I remember playing.
We played it and we realized like the text is way too fucking small.
Yeah.
It's also really annoying.
Yeah. Don't know. Sword Coast Legends was out. Got to pick it up. I wonder if you picked it up, Vic.
I hope you didn't.
Ren Fair by me in Tuxedo, New York only allows 1 drink at a time, and the lines are a mile long. That is terrible. I think we even mentioned that.
Oh, yeah, that is terrible. That's fucking horrible.
That's a horrible way to live.
Actually, remember the last time we went to Ren Fair and I got really fucked up on goddamn mead?
Oh, yeah, because I was just like, let's try it.
Fucking mead.
Oh, God, it feels terrible in your stomach.
You took one sip and you were like, no. You're like, no way. You're like, I can't do this. It's too sweet. It's going to kill me.
It's like having
and I was like, I'll take care of it. And I drank it. Yeah, it was the worst decision I've ever made.
Very cool. We have a bunch of barcades over here. Okay, that's when we went to...
One Up?
One Up, yeah. That's when we went to One Up. That's an on-location episode.
I actually talked to somebody who went to One Up as well.
Yeah.
And they said the exact same thing we said. Like, they had the same... basically the same opinions, which is, one, it's a little overpriced.
Yeah.
They're like, but they liked it, but they're like saying that the food was a little could be better.
Food could be better. Yeah.
And they were also disappointed that it basically the arcade portion of that bar is like an afterthought. So they're like, why do they only have like 5 machines? And
they're like menu machines, so you can scroll through a bunch of different games.
No, do not defend them. God damn it!
I like that place. I've been there multiple times now. They gave me a free pass because I think it's like a discount coupon because they actually had like a party going there. It's like, sorry man, we can't let you in, but here you go. Here's like I think it was like like a 30% discount for
Did
anything.
Did you piss all over them?
No, I just went to the sushi place across the street.
Of course you would.
Vic says I picked it up and I'm stuck at an impossible beholder elder brain. No, just kidding.
Nerd.
Let's move on. $900, Jeeves. This is when we were talking about how to get into E3, which I'm not going this year.
Yeah, I'm not going either. I actually have a friend who is going, and he said this.
Johnny Five's probably going to go.
Yeah. Apparently, industry members, though, what they're going to do this year is they're going to let them. They're going to let industry members in for 4 hours alone.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So I think for the general public, their entrance time is going to be 1 o'clock. For industry members, their entrance time I think is going to be 9 or 10. So for the first 3 or 4 hours, it's only industry, and then they let the general public in at 1.
Right. That's interesting.
Which if I was a general public person, I'd be kind of pissed off. But fuck those nerds.
I mean, I don't know. I don't know what the appeal of going to that thing is.
I don't know either, because now everyone's doing their own fucking televised conference.
Yeah.
Like their own streaming.
Like Nintendo
showcase.
led the way.
Yeah, they're doing their own televised streaming showcase. So it's like there's no fucking point. I'd rather just sit at home on Twitch watching it.
Yeah, me too. What's a Twitch? Anyways.
That's actually what I did for the Bethesda one last year.
Vic says, my friend said he went to our local Toys R Us at 12 in the afternoon, and they had a pallet of them behind the register. This is for the SNES Classic.
The NES or SNES?
I think it was the... Is it the NES? No. This was SNES, because we went on a field trip for this one.
Yeah.
Hold on. Vic says, I played D&D for 3 hours and was slain by a dwarf. That's Homer Simpson's line from that Nerd episode. Nerd. Anyways,
I bet you wear glasses,
yeah.
right? Coke bottles.
They said Captain Picard was better than Captain Kirk.
Actually, that was pretty funny.
Yeah. This was the field trip that we did. We ended up going all the way down to
Palmdale
to buy it,
and then we drove to Lancaster.
And we drove to Lancaster to buy another one, which I'm happy. I gave that as a gift to a good friend of mine and such.
I sold mine.
So you're a reseller.
I did no I played it,
and
then I actually recently sold it not too long ago, a
really?
few months. Yeah, because I wasn't playing it, and I actually sold it. And somebody they actually messaged me, and they were really happy.
Oh, look at that!
They were really happy that they sold it to them.
Yeah, a nice story.
Yeah.
How much did you sell for?
I posted it for $70, but the money I made was like 60 or a little under 60.
Right.
Because they take the apps that I use, they take a percentage of your sale, and then I also put free shipping.
Oh, okay.
But this was before they had announced that they were gonna make more. So I think this person was just pleasantly surprised that they found one.
Right.
Free shipping and everything. So, I mean, that thing was I played it all of 6 times, so the thing was in perfect condition.
Right.
I mean, I don't think this guy was really, I think this guy was happy that he got one. Because they were
still have mine. It's on a shelf right now.
they were 80, right?
Yeah, I think they were.
Yeah. So this guy bought it for $10 off.
Oh, well, that's not bad. Unless they put something new in the second edition, it's more games or something like that.
No, I think it's just they're just manufacturing more.
Oh.
But I do know somebody who bought one too, and they got it hacked. They had somebody mod it.
Ah, well, just get a Raspberry Pi. I got one right over there.
Yeah. I just want Pi.
Me too. Great show. Thanks, Vic. Have you seen Elix at all? It's an action RPG by the team that did the Gothic games. It's a mix of medieval and post-apocalyptic. I don't remember this comic, but I think I liked it. Yeah, I did. No, at this point, I don't think I've checked it out yet. Is that Elix? Vic saying that Toys R Us here is down to 60% off on games. And
it's here too.
It's here, but all our Toys R Us have no stock in it.
Yeah.
They're just empty husks of stores now. The
one here, because I went to the one here in my city, and still has video games, but basically all the good stuff has been taken, and even
Bassmaster 3.
Yeah, even then though, the stuff that they do have, it's still overpriced, because basically once you add the percentage off, it's the normal price. So they overprice things because they're still trying to make money.
You have chosen
it's shitty.
9 iron. Could I make a suggestion and use a smaller clip? You have chosen
what's bullshit is all the stuff people want, like the video games, anything electronic and Legos is still overpriced. Like the Legos is only like, I think the Legos are only like 15 or 20% off.
Oh, really?
Yeah, but that's still not a lot.
They're like $80.
Yeah, they're still fucking overpriced. So it's bullshit.
So yeah, I guess I think the last time I went, there wasn't really much I wanted to get there, and like I was just like, I don't like the smell of Toys R Us. It smells like baby poop.
There's a lot of baby poop there.
Yeah, there is a lot of baby poop. Okay, Pokemon is for children and Chris Chan types. Hail to the King Baby. I think they were talking about Evil Dead, I guess, and then Pokemon. Oh, I think we're making the comparison of Ash and Ash Ketchum, which I do. Vic saying, I found a Blade Runner spinner for $5, like a fidget spinner.
Oh.
Does it have like Baptista's face in the middle? That would be great. I like that Baptista. Who's Chris Chan? Do I know Chris Chan?
Chris Chan? No.
I'm gonna look him up.
Who's Chris Chan? I don't know.
Oh, whoops.
Pokemon is for the children and Chris Chan types. Who the fuck is? I have no idea who the fuck Chris Chan is. It better not be. He better not be related to Logan Paul or the fucking Paul brothers. I fucking hate those goddamn kids.
I love them. They're so hilarious. No, I don't really like them at all. I don't even actually watch their show.
Oh, he's a YouTube vlogger and creator of Sonichu.
Of what?
I guess he's a YouTube. He's a fucking YouTube person.
Chris Chandler, formerly known as Christian Weston Chandler. Oh, he was a trolling target.
What the fuck? I have no fucking idea who this person is.
Christian Weston Chandler. Oh, I think I did look this up after. So he made like a comic web comic called Sanchu. And then he became a trolling target by Encyclopedia Dramatica and 4chan due to the low quality body of work, unusual behavior, and extreme reaction to hostility. Apparently he's like I think he, just one of those socially awkward kids that, became a target of just, internet people. And then has constantly just been ragged on. The flying Blade Runner car, not a fidget spinner. Okay. Still, you should find a fidget spinner with Baptista in the middle. I did look this up later just because I wanted to know who Chris Chan is. I think this is the last one. Great show. Spider Roll is my favorite. I do like a good spider roll. Spider rolls aren't bad.
Spider roll have?
Let me see here. I'm not sure. I don't think it has eel, but I think it does. It's one of the ones that have cream cheese, I think, in it. It's maki sushi, which includes breaded or battered soft-shell crab. Okay, not. And other ingredients such as cucumber, avocado, daikon, sprouts, or lettuce.
I think I need to go try...
Oh, and spicy mayonnaise.
I think I need to go try eel again, because the last time I tried eel, it just tasted too much like salt water.
Yeah, I'm not a big fan of eel. It's like the texture's weird to me, but I've had stuff that I like that had eel in it. I don't know. So we thought something was funny on our podcast. My mom and dad went to school with the studio drummer for the Monkees, Skippy. Oh, I did some research on that, Vic, and I found that Skippy ended up killing, and I think I put the comments here. I don't think it's not.
Wait, what? Who's Skippy?
So Skippy is a studio drummer that I think worked for Irvin Kershner at one point. Not Irvin Kershner. Michael Kershner. It's this guy who like got all these like musicians together to write music for the Monkees television show for their first season, and like they wrote a bunch of hits. They had a studio drummer that would sit in and like basically do the drumming. Later, this guy ended up, I think, beating up his like girlfriend and then killing his mother. He just had these like really deep mental disorders, and he ended up like killing his mother. Then he went up, going to jail. I think this was like late 70s, maybe early 80s. But yeah, and just like he was just insane. He's like the prototypical person that you would think of who's insane and kills their family members. It's a pretty sad story.
That's dark.
And then that's like I think that's the last of the comments. So we ended on a dark note. So that's I think the incomplete comments from Vic, which about 18 different comments. I mean, from 18 different videos, I guess. But there you go. Thank you, Vic, for commenting on our videos and being a loyal listener. If anyone else is listening out there, we can do this with anyone. But Vic gets first dibs just because he's been a loyal listener. That's it. I got nothing else. What about you?
I got nothing. But I do want to thank Vic one more time for being a loyal listener. And we need to get more pie in this goddamn podcast. So if you got pies, if you got any pies cooling on the windowsill, please send them our way. I have no idea. As always, you can follow us on Twitter, at IncognitBro. I really can never remember my Twitter handle. And at
mine's
Chuck
easy.
and Dice. Please share, like, and subscribe. Always leave comments.
Vic will.
Vic will leave comments.
We made his day too.
I'm glad we made your. I'm glad. I hope your Memorial Day is very good, and you don't get too drunk, and hopefully someone's barbecuing for you.
And steer clear of Skippy, by the way. That guy's crazy. I don't know if he's still alive or.
Wait, did Vic roll say he's from Texas?
No, I thought he was from Jersey.
Oh, yeah. Vic. Well, yeah. Okay, cool. Whatever. I don't know. I was gonna say we're from Texas. Enjoy the good barbecue.
You can have good barbecue in Jersey. Yeah.
You mean the armpit of America? No. I think I think Jersey's the armpit of America, and Florida's the sweaty taint of America.
That's true. I've been to Florida, and it is my.
Jesus Christ, fucking Florida.
Yeah. Have you been?
No.
Oh. Go for maybe Disney World, but I mean, you can find better stuff. You can. It's the same as Disneyland.
I heard Disney World is like fucking huge and boring, and like.
Well, it's like Disneyland, except all the stuff's way farther apart, and then they have Epcot Center.
Honestly, Disneyland is getting to a point where there's so many fucking people. There's not even worth it.
No, I hate going there. I remember I had to take my ex-girlfriend there.
Is that when you encountered the super racist hostess?
Yeah. So real quick before we end here, I took my ex-girlfriend to Disneyland because she liked Disneyland because she thinks it's a magical place. I think it's a dump. Anyways, I took her there as a birthday present because she loves that place, and we went to all these different dumb rides that I don't like, and and then we went to get something to eat. So we went to this sort of like nice sort of French themed restaurant, and I asked the hostess there, I was like, "Hey, how's it going? Do we just seat ourselves, or does someone else seat us?" And she was like, just staring at me with this goofy smile. She was an older woman, and she basically said, "Oh, your English is really good," because I'm Asian, and my girlfriend was half Latina, I guess, and I'm just like, yeah. So do we sit ourselves, or are you going to show us to our seats? How does it work here? We would really like to order some food. Oh, okay. Yeah. We, I can show you, where to sit. I'm like, Jesus Christ, just let us seat and give us some menus. I don't need to be complimented on my English. And like I didn't like it before then. I really hate it now. But Disneyland sucks. And it looks like Vic got drunk on Saturday. Good. That's exactly what you need to do. I got sort of drunk on Saturday.
Like how drunk?
I got more high than anything. We went to a concert, but we couldn't get in because I was with Cotterman, and Cotterman was wearing shorts. And they said that you're not up to dress code and we can't let you in.
Really?
Yeah.
Wait, where was this again?
This was at the Peppermint Club. It's in West Hollywood. There was a concert there for
Are you fucking serious?
Musician called Pusey Jones, which is sort of a jazz musician type guy.
Why the fuck would you why were they so against shorts? Like,
I don't know. It was so weird because it's like we're in California. It's hot outside, and I mean it wasn't hot then, but I was wearing pants, and Cotterman's wife was wearing pants. But Codrin traditionally just wears shorts all over the place because he has this thing about like his legs are always hot and he doesn't like wearing pants. Mm. And they basically said,
"But you paid for this concert?"
Well, he paid for it, and it was only $15. He ended up getting a refund.
Well, at least he got a refund.
Yeah, and then
I'd be outraged if I paid for it. And they're like, "Oh, there's a dress code." Like, this is fucking horse shit.
Yeah, and then like they said, "Oh, well, you can go to that." And there was a Macy's down there. You can go to the Macy's, and Cotton was like, "What?" I was like, "I don't want to go to Macy's and buy pants."
Yeah, because then the concert turns it from $15 to like $50.
Yeah,
because you gotta buy a fucking pair of jeans.
Yeah, and then like his friends were there too from like film work because he's a grip, and they were just like, "Just go down to the Target and grab something." And then as we're walking, Connor was like, this is dumb. I don't want to do this. Let's just go to a restaurant and then get some more drinks and then just go home. And I'm like, and I was kind of thinking to myself, yeah, the principle of this all is that no one should freaking buy a pair of pants to go to a dumb concert.
Yeah.
So I was like with
This is
him. I was
fucking
like,
stupid.
yeah. And
This is goddamn.
Yeah.
This is fucking America,
Right.
where some idiot can run for president and
Right.
win. Why you gotta make me wear fucking pants to a
Right.
goddamn concert?
yeah, I didn't get it either because it didn't seem like a fancy place at all.
Yeah. Can we just get the super plague or giant meteor already?
I guess.
Can we get invaded by China? I really want China to just collect under debt with the U.S. and just invade the fuck out of us. Please, China, just invade the fuck out of us.
All right, so that's our show for today. Thanks for joining us. Vic had ate some delicious spicy chorizo and bacon blue cheeseburgers, which sounds excellent.
God damn it.
That sounds awesome.
I think we should make this now.
We should. So we will see you next time on the next Co-Operators.
And
Thanks
for
joining us.
listening, Vic.
Yeah, thanks for listening, Vic. You other listeners, whatever. But Vic, thank you for listening.